We're flattered, we're honored, we're touched, we're moved that we have a two-time Super Bowl champion, a man, if you include the playoffs, and you should, because he's been a heck of a player in the postseason, has 63 career sacks, a 12-year veteran, most recently with the Baltimore Ravens the last 3 seasons. Kyle Van Noy, how the heck are you, man?
Woo, what an intro, baby. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to jump and play some football.
I wrote it all down. I got my notes.
Weekend. Okay, let's go. Good energy. You know, divisional round weekend. We're feeling the good vibes from the teams. I agree with you. I think this is an awesome weekend because you are not just getting the championship week where you only have 2 games to look forward to. You have 4 big games to look forward to. And I'm excited about it. 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Let's lock in, boys, and let's have a day.
And not just generally divisional weekends. This divisional weekend's awesome. Like, you look at every matchup and I'm like, wow, I can't even call them. I'm even 49ers, Seahawks. I'm like, well, we've been doubting 49ers all year. Why can't they pull off an upset? Just 4 powerhouse matchups for divisional weekend. I'm pumped. I'm excited for this one.
Well, the other thing too is as we sit down to tape this show, I'll look at my watch right now. It's 5:30 Eastern time. We'll just warn you. Sam Darnold just got off the podium. We'll get to the Seahawks and the Niners in a little bit. But Sam Darnold is all of a sudden questionable. He says he's going to play with an oblique injury. Said it happened today. Left side, so front side. He's a right-handed quarterback. Said he felt a little tweak in routes on air, and he decided, you know what, let's shut it down. Let's be careful. Sam, have you ever had an oblique injury? No. This is new. Kyle, you ever had an oblique injury? I assume you must have.
I did. I did have an oblique injury when I was playing with the Chargers back in 2022. It lingered for about 6 weeks. And I also think it's because I played on it, so it made it last a little bit longer. Obliques are not to play with. They're not fun.
Quarterbacks
especially when you're at quarterback and you're doing the twerking, trying to throw the football. I feel like that could be a problem.
And there's not really anything you can do about it, right, Kyle? You can't brace it up. Like, it's just there.
Can't do that. Drew Lock, by the way, is the backup. He threw 3 passes this year. He has started games in this league, don't get me wrong. But Sam Darnold against Robert Saleh and that banged-up defense, or Drew Lock against Robert Saleh and that banged-up defense? Obviously, you want Sam Darnold. We'll get to the games in a sec. I promise. We're going to break them all down. Kyle, can we talk about John Harbaugh? Before we get to the Giants, just where were you last Wednesday when you heard the news?
Last Wednesday, I was being a loser packing up my house.
Okay.
Because it was after we lost against the Steelers. So I was depressed. And then I get this alert seeing that John Harbaugh was let go. And, you know, Marissa, who's my better half, we're looking at each other like, damn. You know, for me, I'm a little different when people get fired because especially coaches and GMs, because I have a piece. I'm a part of that. I'm a reason why a coach or a GM got fired. Martin Mayhew got fired when I was in the Detroit Lions. He's the one that drafted me. I felt that one because he picked me 2nd overall, and I didn't live up to the standard and the expectations of getting picked. Now, Harbaugh, you know, being the head coach at, you know, with the Ravens, my expectation was to have another big year like I did the year before, you know, and things didn't work out the way they did for me. So I feel a part of that. And, you know, it was unfortunate, but, you know, sad sob story over. Like, who gives a damn about how I feel or what happened? Because now you see the numbers. It showed he got a 5-year, $100 million contract to be the coach of the New York Giants. So we can't feel so bad, right? I mean, Buddy's business is booming again.
I'm happy for him, but I'm still trying to figure out why. And I thought Steve Bisciotti's presser was amazing. I don't know if you saw that. It's like open mic night. And he was an open book with everything. And he actually joked that if Tyler Loop had made the kick in Pittsburgh week 18, that John has his job for maybe one more week. It's not as if he had made up his mind, but he clearly felt that after 18 years, the message wasn't getting through. And I've told the story a bunch before. When I used to work with Brian Billick, who came before Harbaugh in Baltimore, he said that after 10, 11 years there for him, he felt the message didn't get through anymore. And that, like, change for change was a good thing. Kyle, do you think his message got through? Because there was all this whispering that maybe some guys in the locker room weren't buying it anymore. There was the stuff with him and Lamar. Like, was it time?
You know, I'm not going to say if it was time. I don't think there's ever a right time and a good time when you have a coach there for so long. I mean, do we think the right time for Tomlin to leave was right now? I mean, he made that call. So was it perfect timing? I don't know. He just won the division. He made another wild card game going 10-7 without DK for 2 games in the last 2 games. So he made the playoffs. So was it the right time for Tomlin? I don't know. I don't know if it was the right time for John Harbaugh. But if you listen to Steve Bisciotti's press conference, I mean, he made it well known. He even let Tony Dungy have it in the press conference. I respect everything about Mr. Bisciotti, how he handled that. I think he's one of the most impressive owners in the NFL. I admire him and how he goes about his business. I respect it. I'm glad to call him a friend, even though he might not call me a friend. I don't know. I feel like we've been able to have great conversations when we've been able to talk. And when you listen to that presser, you have a man who knows what it takes. I mean, he built his billion-dollar business. He's won Super Bowls before, so he knows what he's looking for in a head coach. And I think, you know, the eyes goes to him on who he hires next, because a lot of people didn't know John Harbaugh back then. A lot of people didn't have faith probably back then when he took a chance on John Harbaugh. So I'm going to put my faith in Mr. Bisciotti. He's only had to hire 3 head coaches, you know, in his time being the owner, I think, or maybe even just 2. So I'm going to put my trust in him that he's going to find the right piece and that he made the right decision for him and what he sees fit.
All right, Kyle, I know you said you're putting your faith in Steve, but if it were up to you, what should the Ravens be looking for with this next head coach? What needs to happen to get you guys over that hump to get to that Super Bowl that has evaded the Ravens during the Lamar Jackson era?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, you know, I'm going to go piggyback off what Mr. Bisciotti and Eric DeCosta said when it comes down to the X's and O's. I think you want to find a coach that has the X's and O's down to a T in critical situations that can really, really hurt you offensively and defensively. You look at the coaches that are in the playoffs right now, the Kyle Shanahans, the Sean McVays, Mike McDonald, Ben Johnson, Joe Brady, McDermott. You know, sorry if I forgot your team and your coach. All the coaches that are in the playoffs, you all have X's and O coaches that make it really hard on offense and really hard on defense. And whoever that coach is, whether you're a defensive-minded coach or an offensive-minded coach, those particular groups do a great job and make it really hard. And that's what I mean by X's and O's. You know, whether it's offense and you want to team up with Lamar and get him a system where he doesn't necessarily have to change year in and year out, could be beneficial, or a defensive coach, minded coach where they want to get back to that Ravens defense the way it was back then. However, even though you can't play like that anymore, just getting an X's and O defensive coach in there with the amount of talent they have on defense would also help. So I just see it from a standpoint of an X's and O's mentality, like Eric DeCosta has said in his comments. I think that's what they're looking for.
You know, it's interesting because there are 9 openings now, which is just absurd. Is
it though? Because it seems like it's every year, though.
I'm sorry. I know,
a lot.
but here's the stat that's crazy, Kyle. So if you go back to 2022, so this year there are 9. Technically now there are 8 because Harbaugh obviously has taken the Giants job, although it's not official. If you go back to 2022, if you include Arians retiring in March and Todd Bowles taking over, there were 10 openings. How many of those 10 do you think still have that same head coach hired in the 2022 offseason? How many of the 10 were fired? 8 of the 10 were fired.
Eight.
Yeah.
8. Wow.
4 years later.
It's just the way the NFL is now. It's, we don't like the process of building. We want the end result now. I love what Steve Bisciotti said, that he wants to give a 5-year deal out because he understands it might take that long to get his culture set, to get that mindset yet. I already think the culture is set there before anyone steps in there, so it might be sped up a little bit. But just hearing that was refreshing. You have these places, I don't like talking bad about different organizations because I don't know what it's like, but an organization I've had a lot of success with is the Jets. I mean, their turnover since I've been in the NFL has been wild, bananas. And I just don't know how you can find success when you're turning over coach after coach after coach, player, quarterback after quarterback, and you're not establishing an organization identity that you have. The organization identity the Ravens have always had has been the trenches and defense. Like, that's what their bread and butter has been since Mr. Bisciotti's taken over. You have seen it through the 30 years he's been the owner. You look at the Niners, it's always been about, from Bill Walsh, that West Coast offense growing what it has now, like quarterbacks is what you think of the Niners, that high octane offense. You think about the Cowboys organization that they've been, even though, everybody's going to say whatever they want about Jerry Jones. I get that part, but organizationally, they've been about their stars. They've been about, when they had an offensive line, that's what they pride themselves on. That you can go all the way back when Aikman was quarterback. They pride themselves on O-line, and you still see it to this day from, transitioning into Tyron Smith and Zach Martin and who they have now on their O-line. They really care about those trenches. The Packers, they've had quarterbacks, sustaining. The trenches have been a big part of who they are as an identity. So if you go back and just look at the very top of the top food chain organizations, they already have what they want because they've had it for a very long time. So that's just my 2 cents.
So, Kyle, if I could jump in real quick, if you don't mind, Andrew, I just want to ask you, Giants fans are very excited about this hire, as they should be. We all know John Harbaugh's record. We all know Hall of Fame resume. I mean, he's going to the Hall of Fame someday. You've played with him. What are the Giants getting with John Harbaugh as their new head coach?
You're getting somebody who's going to demand a respectful football team. And what I mean that is when you go out to Sunday, you're going to play physical, tough, and a violent football game. That's what John Harbaugh prides himself on. That's what he teaches. That's what makes him as a head coach. And so I expect the Giants team to really buy into that because, they've kind of had a up and down, one good year, one down year, and then a lot of down years, and then a good year here. They want consistency, and I think that's what Harbaugh is going to bring, that CEO mentality. He's going to get the people that he believes in place. It looked like Todd Monken is going with him, so I expect Jackson Dart to really, really pick up his game when it comes to playing the quarterback position, throwing the football. I mean, you go back all the way in his time in Tampa Bay. He did he had Fitzpatrick down there and Jameis Winston did his thing. Then he went to Georgia. Their passing game went crazy with George Pickens when he was there at Georgia. And then Lamar, taking him to MVP caliber when it comes to throwing the football. So I expect Todd Monken to do a good job and Harbaugh to implement that violent, physical football style up in New York land where they've missed it for a long time. And I think those fans should be excited because they're getting a great CEO as a coach, and they have a lot of good, talented players. They have guys that fit that bill, from Dexter Lawrence to Brian Burns to Scadaboo, to Thomas, their tackle, to even their quarterback, Malik Neighbors, when he gets healthy. They just embody that type of style of football. So I'm excited to see what he does.
So, Kyle, you're going to be 35 in March. Might be Anthony Weaver, might be. Yeah, look that up. I mean, unless Wikipedia is wrong. I don't know. Is Wikipedia wrong? They've messed up things about me.
Yeah. I'm 25, Andrew. Come on.
Okay,
now.
25. So there, if you're 25, you got a decade of football in front of you. So let's work with that. Whether it's Anthony Weaver, Denard Wilson, or none of the above, maybe it's a defensive coordinator to be named later. They've got pieces up front. They got Brian Burns and they have Abdul Carter. I mean, a cagey veteran with playoff experience with Super Bowl rings. Sounds like a perfect fit for the mentor in that room for some younger guys that might need some leadership. You're smiling. Kyle Van Noy, a New York Giant next year?
Yeah, I like pop-up bagels. I tried that for the first time a little while ago.
See?
Honestly, I'm taking a second just to look back and enjoy where I'm at, enjoy what I've done. I would love to continue to play. I don't want to sit here and have to, say I still got enough juice left. I think if you watch the tape, you can see that I do, especially at the end of the season. This start of it didn't go as well as I wanted. I got banged up early and then played on a hamstring for a while because that's what I wanted to do. I thought it could have been my last season at the time, and I wanted to go out with a bang with my teammates and, play through a little bit of injury. And I did that. And, I won't regret that because I think it just proves to the young guys to have a mindset in this league. There's being hurt and there's being injured. And so if you can go out there, get your ass out there. And for me, I'm just looking forward to an opportunity. I know I'll have opportunities because I can still play at a high level. I know the value I bring to a football team, and I'm excited for whoever else sees that value and wants me in their locker room because I really think I can help them out, not only on the field, but off the field.
Sounds like a definite maybe. Frank, this guy played with a broken bone in his face last year? Was it last year? 2 years ago?
I've heard that. Yes, I wouldn't even be able to get out of bed with a broken bone in my face. So,
2024. Yeah, that was last. What's crazy about that, Andrew, is I didn't
orbital bone, right?
So it was like on my right side underneath my eye, I had 2 fractures on the floor. It wasn't fun. And there was a miscommunication. It wasn't fun. There was a miscommunication because they had me taking allergy medication because from about like right here on down my face, it was all numb. So they wanted to keep my nasal passage open. And the way to do that is taking the allergy medication. But I was taking Allegra D, which is an upper.
Oh my God.
And my smart self football player, Kyle Van Noy, was taking it at 11 o'clock at night. So I was not sleeping very much. And I'm about losing my mind because I'm showing up to work. I'm in pain with my face. I'm sleeping on like 2 hours of sleep for about 4 or 5 days before the Las Vegas game. And I'm about to freak out on these doctors. Like, you guys are telling me to take this. I haven't slept. Like, I'm about to fight you guys. And the doctor's like, all right, like, we'll figure it out. Like, what are we doing? Let's go over the steps. And then he looks at me and he's like, when are you taking this? And I'm like, before bed, so I can sleep better, that it opens my nasal passages like he told me to. He's like, you're taking a stimulant before bed. He's like, stop taking it. I ended up finally getting some rest that before the game and had 2 sacks in the game, but we lost. It was just a funny story that came about that. So.
Yeah. Hey, honey, did you have the melatonin? No, but I have amphetamines. You want to take some amphetamines before you go to bed? Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, sure. And then you're running laps around the house at 3 a.m. That's brilliant.
Yeah, no, I'm an
on
idiot.
That note,
I was like trying to sleep. Oh man.
we've all taken the wrong medication before. Thank God, like it didn't have severe effects. I mean, it's bad enough that you have your half your face is broken and you're taking amphetamines to sleep. That's fantastic.